the bite of the late autumn morning wind stung Eleanor's cheeks and made her eyes water as she stepped out onto the street from her building, the heavy door snapping shut behind her with a definitive clang. Her mother's voice, muffled but urgent, called from behind the wood. "Ellie, don't forget the gift. Your father's coming home early tonight. Just for this, make sure you get it early. Whatever you do, don't get caught in the evening rush." A gift? Right. Her father's birthday. It had to be this week, of all weeks. The week she and a handful of others had been assigned to clean the gutters and drains behind the old academy building after lessons. She had dared tell her mother the reason why. "Now," she mumbled back, pulling her thin scarf higher over her nose and mouth before turning towards the train station. It was maybe a mile's walk to the station, but it always felt longer, regardless of the weather, due to the steep, winding path that had to be ascended from her rundown district to the bustling streets above. She reached the station just as the train was pulling in. A timely arrival, she seemed to have developed a morbid sixth sense for. She stepped into the relative warmth of the metal car, finding a brief respite from the chill. The academy, however, offered no such luxury. It was an old, imposing stone structure, theoretically equipped with heating, but the school board perpetually claimed insufficient budget to actually run it. You could be sure, though, that the headmaster's office felt no such pinch, a fact she'd discovered firsthand just a week prior. Summoned to explain notes passed during the test, the notes containing an incorrect answer. Oh, she was accused of collusion. She was innocent, a victim of cruel chance, the incriminating slip landing in her hand just as the teacher glanced up. She had no defense. Being from the lower town, attending on a partial scholarship, already set her apart in the eyes of the privileged students and some of the more rigid faculty. Coupled with her middling grades, the accusation of cheating felt tragically plausible to them. She was lost, and the others, who had actually used the note of their papers revealing the same wrong answer, were to share her punishment. At 3 o'clock, lessons ended, and the grim work began. It was back-breaking fall labor. The heavy cast iron drain covers had to be wrestled open, and the slimy, reeking, greenish-black muck that had festered over the warmer months scraped from the walls and floors of the channels. This putrid sludge was then shoveled into bins for disposal later. By the time the first cover was wrestled open, Ellie and the others were already sickened by the task. An hour in, as darkness began to creep in and the cold numbed their fingers and toes, tempers frayed. Mark, one of the roughest boys, snapped. He rounded on Ellie, screaming that this was all her fault. He yelled that someone who belonged there wouldn't have gotten caught, and she should just do everyone a favor and disappear. He punctuated this with a wild swing, a shovel load of coal, dark scum coursing through the air and exploding across her face, leaching into her hair and clothes. The others erupted into a horrible chorus of laughter as she stood there, stunned, the foul stench filling her nostrils, the cold muck soaking into her skin. Pure, blinding rage consumed her. She screamed something she couldn't even articulate back at the cackling group and just ran, blindly, into the gathering gloom. She ran all the way to the train station, uncaring of the disgusted, disapproving stares she garnered. She just wanted to be home, to scrub herself clean. People gave her a wide berth, which she thought was just perfect. Maybe she'd get an entire train car to herself. Then she remembered the gift. Her mother's words about avoiding the rush hour echoed, a cruel irony. She had no choice now. Return home empty-handed on her father's birthday, forced to explain this humiliation, or brave the crowds. She tidied herself as best she could in the station restroom, the ingrained filth a constant reminder of her shame, and then went to collect the item. The shop owner barely hid their revulsion, asking her to wait outside while they retrieved it. No sympathy here. By the time she made her way back to the station platform, the area was a suffocating crush of people. Perfect, she thought. Of course, this day had to unfold in the worst possible way imaginable. Her fellow commuters, tired and impatient from their own days, made it abundantly clear, with sharp glances and muttered complaints, that she smelled foul and should keep her distance. On the platform, she was buffeted and jostled repeatedly, her only thought to protect the delicate items she carried, careful not to lose her footing. It was all for naught. As the train roared towards the station, the surging crowd, desperate to board, pushed her relentlessly towards the edge. With no free hands to grip anything, anyone, she lost her balance. Tumbling forward, she fell directly into the path of the oncoming steel beast. The shriek of brakes was an agonizing sound that tore through the air, a desperate, futile cry against physics. Time seemed to warp, stretch, and snap. One moment, blinding light and deafening noise. The next, a profound, absolute silence just for Eleanor. Her last sensation was cold steel and unimaginable force. Her parents were utterly devastated. Their only child, gone forever, in such a horrific manner. A wound from which they never truly recovered. Her schoolmates, however, moved on with chilling speed. Not even a day passed before morbid jokes began to circulate. Looks like she was caught up about it, or guessed she was all there. Too soon. They found it hilarious. Their final day on Earth was spent finishing the last of the drain cleaning behind the academy. They finished late, the autumn air thick with damp chill. By the time they reached the station, it was deserted. Or so they thought. As they sat in weary silence on the platform bench, exhausted from the arduous labor, a chilling sound echoed from the tunnel. A distinct, rhythmic scrape-drag. They exchanged wide-eyed glances. What was that? One of the boys whispered. No idea, another replied, his voice trembling. Then they heard it again, closer this time. It's coming from over there. A girl shrieked, pointing a trembling finger down the dark tunnel. The sound intensified, growing louder, faster, as a silhouette slowly resolved from the darkness. It was her. Eleanor. Or what was left of her. She was dragging herself along the ground, only her upper body visible, propelled by clawed hands scrabbling against the concrete. And in one hand, held loosely, but purposefully, was a length of sharpened metal, perhaps a piece of rail track or twisted debris. The students scrambled to their feet, terror seizing them. They tried to run, but the specter was impossibly fast, a blur of rage and bone. It launched itself at them, the dreadful scrape-drag replaced by a horrifying wet slice. One scream cut off abruptly, then another, and another. The air filled with gurgling cries and the sickening thud of falling bodies. A platform became a slaughterhouse, slick with dark, viscous blood. As the survivors lay dying, cut cleanly in two, Eleanor's fragmented form hovered over them, a ghastly parody of life. And in a voice that scraped like metal on stone, she spoke her final, chilling words. Now you know how it feels to be half a person.